On this AVNation special, we take a look at DSE 2020, Digital Signage Expo 2020. Takes place April 1st and 2nd. The actual conference, though, takes place March 31st through April 3rd. We'll talk with Mike White and Robert White about picking the right CMS. All that and more next on this AVNation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special, picking the right CMS for digital signage. This is an AVNation special. My name is Tim Albrecht. I am your host. What we're doing is we're previewing DSE 2020, Digital Signage Expo 2020 comes your way from Las Vegas, March 31st through April 3rd. The show floor itself is open April 1st and 2nd. With me today to talk about their session, which happens Thursday, April 2nd at 9 o'clock. Picking the right CMS is Mike White and Robert White from Unified Technology Systems, a solutions company.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Mike, we'll start with you on this. Kind of give us an overview. The title of the class is No Excuses, Pick the Right CMS. So as somebody walks in, it's Thursday, April 2nd, as they walk into the class Thursday morning, what are we going to learn?
Well, Tim, it literally is an embarrassment today for us to still have digital signage systems failing after 3 to 6 months. And that failure is normally associated with the choice of the wrong CMS or content management solution. So what Robert and I are going to be presenting in a very fast hitting pace and very question oriented, we are going to be presenting exactly what are the questions that you ask to help you as the integrator or the end user go through the some 600 plus digital signage content management solutions and pick one. There's not just one that will work, but pick one that will work for your particular application of digital signage. And so the real key of what we're going to be covering in this course is the presentation of key questions that you should ask before you invest any money in doing a digital signage system, or maybe you've already started one, or you've got one that's 2 years in and it has never worked. The challenge is still the same. Choose the right CMS, and that's what this is all about.
Well, Robert, real quickly, as Mike illustrated there, you could even be going down the pathway already, or maybe you have a system that's already been deployed. How do you pivot? Before we get into this, how do you pick the right one? Let's start with the maybe the worst case scenario. You've already got a system, it doesn't work. How then do you pivot and go, okay, you know what, let's cut our losses at this point, at X point, and take these questions and kind of move forward and recoup some of the maybe some lost time or some lost resources to really kind of redeploy a system that's not entirely living up to its expectations?
Sure. I think you've got to take stock of what you liked and what you didn't like, what worked and what didn't work, and kind of analytically look at that and, figure out from that list of things what you need to be looking at. Is it an enterprise level package? Is it something that's kind of middle of the road? Is it a low entry level package? And then, after doing that, sometimes it's good to look at, are there any tools that you've already purchased that you can reuse? Many of the enterprise level digital signage packages today, and even kind of the middle of the road or mid-level ones, support a wide variety of hardware platforms out there. And so you may find that your initial investment wasn't totally wasted, for lack of better words, that you can reuse some of that hardware. So, and that may be a big point, a big part of your decision is the different packages you're looking at. You come to 2 or 3 that you like. Well, which one of those might be able to reuse some of the hardware that you've got and be able to kind of recoup some of the initial cost. So.
Mike, when you first start the sales process, when you're trying to ascertain whether or not this is really the solution, first of all, where digital signage in general is the solution, what are some of the questions you're asking clients? in a kind of a needs analysis before you even bring in somebody like Robert?
Yes, Tim, I think that's such a crucial question, and here is the key first question. Exactly what do you want to accomplish with your investment in digital signage? And as a second part of that primary question, how are you going to measure it? The metrics associated with it. Many people for years have started out with, everything from what size screen do you think that I need here, or what type of player, a Windows or other type of player, and all of those are very important. But we're in a very mature industry right now relative to digital signage. The displays, they're high resolution, they're great, they're flexible, the players are dependable, the networks are getting more and more robust every single day. But some people often miss that first step, and I'll go one step further. If you cannot answer that question about what is the value proposition, what do you want to get from your investment, and how are you going to measure it, I would suggest that you don't even get started. You go back and answer that question first, and then you start working with an experienced integrator on or with the manufacturer in many cases, but of the CMS. But if you skip question one, it's going to be like that statement: if you don't know where you're going to go when you start, you're going to get there, and you're going to. It's so critically important that first question be, what value proposition is this going to bring you, and how are we going to measure it?
Mike, in or Robert, in the description of the class itself, you guys talk about the one question that doesn't get asked, or the one question that should always get asked. When you are getting brought into a system, Mike's already talked about what exactly they're trying to accomplish, what their needs are, but also ultimately what is it they're trying to measure, and what are they trying to communicate. Then you get brought in. What are some of the first questions that you're going to ask to say, okay, we've established the fact that you really do need a digital signage system. Now let's figure out exactly what sort of system, what sort of content management system you really need.
I'm generally in on those first initial meetings, and I'm listening to those first important questions about, what is the goal and how are you going to measure it? Normally after that, we take them around kind of the ecosystem, and we ask questions about all the different parts of what we consider the digital signage ecosystem, which give credit to the Bronze, who kind of originally came up with the ecosystem and the thoughts behind it. But that's generally what we go through. So we talk about the hardware. We talk about the connectivity. We talk about the software, and we kind of go through all that and make sure that they're aware that it's not just one piece that makes it all come together, that they've got to have all those pieces working after we establish that. And, the piece that we generally end on talking about is the software piece, because that's the part that we consider what should be the first choice and the most important choice, because there are so many options in terms of software, and there are so many of them that can do so many different things. So, we're asking questions like, based on your goals, does this need to be able to manage a lot of users, or they're just one or two users, or what type of content are you working with? So there's a number of different things that can help us determine from a software standpoint where they need to be looking.
Robert, you mentioned the fact that of how many users and things of that nature. When it comes to the actual content creation part, Mike mentioned the fact that there's over 600 CMS solutions out there, which can be kind of daunting. When you walking through your guys' clients, and they say, we have, let's say that we have an on-staff content creation team that's going to manage this, or they have to have it outsourced, or they use another party. When you guys start walking down this road of, creating content and making sure that it's updated on a regular basis, Are there benchmarks or milestones where you say, you know what, if you're going to update it, let's say once a month, then this suite of CMSs is fine. If you're going to do it on a daily or weekly basis, then we want to look at these over here. And if it's just like once a year or whatever, then there's an entirely different suite over here that would better fit your needs. Are there dynamic differences in how often you update the content?
I mean, I think that's a great question because, examples in my mind, you've got, I'm working on some projects right now that are related to the national parks and, kiosks and museum type of digital signage. And that's the type of content that is a set it and forget it type of content. It's the type of content that's updated maybe once a year. And that sort of thing. And in those type of scenarios, the user friendliness of the interface is not as make or break it as it is with a digital signage package that is used on a daily basis, updating content. So yes, your question is very valid. How often is content going to get updated, and does that play into the choice of the CMS? Yes, absolutely.
Mike, when you guys are talking with clients and you're explaining the benefits and you're getting down to the brass tacks of saying this is, yes, you're based on your needs and what you guys are saying you want to accomplish, digital signage is the right pathway here. How do you then get them to the point where they understand and they appreciate the value of digital signage and sell the value perspective of digital signage?
Well, Tim, that's another great question that reflects on the really the experience and the maturity of the person making that conversation happen. If the salesperson that is, or the representative that is having this conversation, if they've never sold digital signage from the perspective of a value proposition, and they've always sold it as just another AV box, they're not going to know where to dig up those questions or where to talk about those questions. For instance, I'll just give you an example of an outcome desired in a manufacturing or a business environment and how it would be measured. Let's say it's that time of year, which tends to be this time of year, when HR has a mission to get everybody signed up for their benefits, and they have had challenges over the years getting everybody to do this in a timely basis, and they have this is paramount to that HR department. They have now a digital signage system that has been that there's been allocated content that they can publish to the screen or a certain, shall we say, area of the screen. And in the past, they have metrics that hurt, that they where say 80% of the people hit the deadline, and then another 10 to 15, 20%, they didn't get it done and they had to do callbacks. And now we have the opportunity to put timely, very, very powerful statements on the digital signage platform that they see, and they can measure if there was a lift to the efficiency of the sign-up period and everything. So there's a metric there to relate. So my point is, in answering your question, it is diverse in the way that the value proposition can be illustrated. That's how come you ask the question up front, what is the value that this system can bring you? And you can ask them whether that is, whether that's a return on investment, or like in a retail environment, sell more widgets, or whether it's a return on objective, whether it's to help HR to sign up more people or pay more attention to safety requirements or weather alerts or something of that nature, or it can even be return on attention. In other words, actually getting someone walking through an environment to actually look at the screen and to make some reaction. I mean, today's clutter of information from our phone through outdoor LEDs in your face is, can you get someone's attention and can you hold it? So, Tim, I really think that those follow-up questions, like Robert reflected on just a second ago, they largely play off of the conversation up front. What is it that you're wanting to accomplish, and how can we measure it? And then the rest of the questions kind of flow. I hope that answered your question, Tim.
Well, yeah, it really does. It also illustrates the importance of that first or second meeting, and the information that you guys, as the integrators and the experts, can glean out of those meetings and kind of pull from the client exactly what it is that they're really trying to accomplish. And sometimes that's difficult, especially if sometimes clients can be guarded and they're not entirely sure, especially if this is their first digital signage system or their first interaction with you. So the talent from you guys' standpoint really is really kind of digging in there and getting out of them and mining what it is they're trying to get.
Yeah, Tim, it's as important for the people leading this value proposition to identify the realistic outcome as it is for them to identify the realistic best monitor or best player or best network connectivity. Being able to identify the realistic outcome from their investment is really key. And you've got to know what you're doing before you can give that realistic outcome. You've got to, one of the things that we absolutely require, and I don't mean this to sound like we don't need the business. We are excited for every opportunity. But if the potential client will not allow us to do this one thing, and this one thing is they have to commit to at least a 1-hour investment of us demonstrating the CMS to them so that they have a realistic expectation of what it takes to constantly refresh their content and control their content so that they have that outcome. And people that will not, they kind of flip it. Well, how much does it cost? $5 a pound or whatever. It's the point being, Tim, is if they won't commit to a demonstration of the software and the people that are going to be changing the content, if they aren't willing to attend, this would be an appropriate time for an integrator for an integrator in particular to say, thank you very much, but this is not the opportunity for me, and walk away, because it will have a bad ending.
Robert, when as we kind of wrap up here, Mike mentioned the walking down this pathway with your clients. What really is the responsibility when it comes to the integrator and you guys as the subject matter experts in helping your client choose the right content management system? Because ultimately the decision is theirs, right? Because they're the ones who will be working with this on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, how often they're updating it. But you guys, as kind of the experts here, you're going to have to lead them down that path. And number one, realize their strengths and what they are capable of doing, but also realize the strengths of the CMS that you're working with.
Sure. I mean, I think I have to step back and kind of give the definition of a true integrator here, and that's that we don't come to them already trying to push box A. It's that we offer them box A, B, C, D, E. And show them based on our experience what we believe is going to make the most difference to them in those handful of options that we're experienced with, and help them to make the decision, but let them make it. Because if we come in as an integrator and we only offer them one option, then have we really been an integrator for them? Have we really been more of just a manufacturer rep in a way, offering them just one choice? Yeah. So I think that is the really, the true benefit of working with integrator is that we shouldn't be tied to just one option. We should offer them multiple options and let them choose based on what they think is best, and with us providing the benefit of our experience.
Very good. All right, gentlemen. Again, you guys can catch this very class and Mike and Robert both at the Digital Signage Expo. Their class is Thursday, April 2nd at 9:15. Mike White, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
My privilege, and thank you.
And Mr. Robert White, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate it.
Mike and Robert White are from Unified Technology System, a solutions company. For us, for AVNation, you can go by our website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others. Also check out our coverage of DSC 2020. Comes your way March 31st through April 3rd, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. All that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.